Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good day I would like to say to our panel judges, Dr. Khairi and Dr. Nur Hayati. Our presentation today is the application of waste master shell and nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, NPK fertilizer on the growth component of jasmine. So for our presentation, I will present with my group members, which is the first one is myself, Ahmad Aizat Putra bin Sulaiman. Second one is Siti Zulaika binti Jamil, and the third one is Muhammad Arif Afifi bin Jupri. Our supervisor is Dr. Nurul Huday binti Abdullah, and our co-supervisor is Dr. Muhammad Azim bin Muhammad Azmi. Let's continue with the introduction. Agriculture has been exist since ages, and now it has been rapidly developed throughout the world. With the technologies that human made, farmers, food producer can make a lot of kind of product such as frozen food and other stuff. And due to this, people keep making food waste. Food waste has been increasing throughout the world these days, and the percentage is getting higher every day. And to help the environment, to help human from this disaster, we thought about making a new product using the food waste, which is organic fertilizer. Our main product is waste master shell. Let's continue with the problem statement. Chemical fertilizer can cause many bad things such as air pollution. The excess nitrogen used in crop fertilization can contribute to the release of greenhouse gases such as carbon dioxide and nitrous oxide into the atmosphere. This effect is caused by using a greater amount of chemical fertilizer than the plant can really absorb. The excess greenhouse gases can be contributing to the increase of land and ocean surface temperature. Next is river pollution. The use of chemical fertilizer on crop can have adverse effects of waterways caused by chemical runoff to the excess fertilizer. The overabundance of nutrients in the water reduces the amount of oxygen the existing organism living in the water use up the oxygen that is left, and the result is oxygen depletion can cause the living organism to die. And the last one is chemical burn. Chemical fertilizer are high in nutrients contained such as nitrogen, and over-application of chemical fertilizer to plants may cause the leaf to turn yellow or brown, damaging the plant or reducing the crop yield. This condition is also known as chemical leaf spotch. Leaf spotch can also cause the leaf of the plant to wither and may cause to die. Next is at the location of Kampung Pasir Putih Johor, the villager has a master shell farm, but the problem is the villager doesn't know how to throw away the waste master shell in a proper way. And as you can see in the picture, there's a lot of waste master shell that we found, and this is one of the places that has lots of waste around the beach. And another information about master shell, it has tons of nutrients such as nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, magnesium, and also calcium carbonate. And the last one for the problem statement is NPK fertilizer, nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. The problem of this fertilizer is the usage of too many chemical substances causes many pollution, and the nutrients inside this fertilizer is NPK, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium. Let's continue with the objective. The first one is to prepare the organic fertilizer from waste muscle shell. The scientific name of waste muscle shell is Perna viridis. The second one is to study the efficiency on growth performance on jasmine. Scientific name of jasmine is Jasminum auriculatum by waste muscle shell, and chemical fertilizer, which is NPK, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium. And the last one is to analyze the different application of organic fertilizer and chemical fertilizer on jasmine plants. Scope and limitation. The first one is to produce organic fertilizer from waste muscle shell with the highest quality. The second one is to observe the effectiveness of the fertilizer by using it onto jasmine tree. And the last one is to record the growth performance of plants from early stage following the growth age.
Hi, Assalamualaikum, and a very nice day. I'm student panels for this group. I am Siti Zulaika as one of the presenter for this group. So I will proceed the presentation, and I will continue to present about the literature review and the method of this project. So let's get started. Firstly, I will briefly explain about the literature review for this project. First and foremost, organic fertilizer from food waste has high moisture content and low physical structure. It has three functions, which is fertilization, liming, and a reduction in eutrophication. Organic fertilizer also contains calcium carbonate from 95 to 99% of the shell weight. Lastly, it contains small amount of nitrogen, sulfur, phosphorus, potassium, and magnesium. Next, there are a few advantages that we can gain from organic fertilizers, such as able to strengthen soil structure. Then, it can increase species biodiversity by 30% according to Organic Trade Association. It also helps to reduce the need of pesticides, nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium requirement in plants, and last but not least, it reduces percentages of plants damage. Secondly, I will explain about the research methodology of this project. So as you can see right here, the first column we can see that we were making the fertilizer from two different material, which is waste muscle shell and nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, or also known as NPK. The characteristic of this study is powder sample. So next, moving on to the plant experiment, we planted the sample, which is jasmine tree, with waste muscle shell fertilizer and also the NPK. Each fertilizer with different concentration are applied to 3 replicate spots. Last but not least, we analyze on 2 parameters on the plant growth, which is the height of tree and the diameter of tree. So, let's start with the new part of this presentation, which is the waste muscle shell preparation. So, to produce this organic fertilizer, we have gone through 3 phases, which is cleaning, drying, and grinding. Firstly, for cleaning, we clean the waste muscle shell using brush to remove the dirt and also the whiteness. Then, we dried it under the sun. Next, for drying process, we put the mussel shell into the furnace and we dry it out in 200 Celsius for 30 minutes to make sure it is fully dry. The last step for this preparation is grinding, which is we grind the mussel shell using blender and sieve it to achieve the size particles that we wanted. Okay, last but not least, I will move forward to the next slide, which is the NPK preparation. So, this one also has 3 phases, which is purchase, grinding process, and packing process. For the first step, we purchase the NPK fertilizer that has been commercialized through online shop. After that, we grinding it out into powder sample using the blender. The very last step is the packing process. During this time, we weigh the fertilizer according to the required concentration. After that, we pack it into plastic. I guess that is all from me now. I will pass the presentation to my fellow teammates, Arif Afifi, to continue our journey. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum. Hi, my name is Muhammad Arif Afifi bin Zulkifli, and I will explain about the next part of the slide. So firstly, for the result and analysis, I will to explain a bit first that our research has two types of observation or data, which is one is height of plant and second is diameter of the plant. And the data was recorded twice in a week, and we recorded for 1 month from 9 March until 5 April 2020. For your information, the best concentration of the fertilizer were chosen using the higher different value of data, which means we do a separation of the first data and the last data, and the higher different value shows the best growth of the plant. As you can see, there is two tables here, which is one is for waste master cell fertilizer and another one is NPK fertilizer. For the I will go for the waste master cell first. For the waste master cell, the higher value of difference in height is 2.4 cm, and it is for 20 gram concentration of WMS fertilizer. And for the NPK fertilizer, the high value is also 2.4 cm, but it is for 5 gram concentration of NPK fertilizer. And below these two tables is graph for each table. You can refer it. Next is diameter of the plant. As you can see, for the waste master cell fertilizer table, there is three highest value for the difference in diameter, which is 0.6 cm, and it is for 10 gram, 15 gram, and 20 gram concentration of waste master cell fertilizer. And we move on to the NPK fertilizer table. There is two highest value for different in diameter, which is 0.4 cm, and it is for 0 gram and 5 gram concentration of NPK fertilizer. And also below this graph, there is a graph that you can refer for your understanding. And now we move on to the conclusion part. What we can conclude from the data and result that we just discussed just now is the waste master cell fertilizer had given the highest result to the growth of the plant component, and the best concentration is from the waste master cell fertilizer with 20 gram concentration. And we also can see that the performance of 20 gram concentration of waste master cell fertilizer is much better than the other concentration fertilizer according to the average value of each physical growth that were taken. For the acknowledgement, this study is supported by the Center of Diploma Studies, University Tun Malaysia, Malaysia, and we also would like to thanks to our friends, parents, and our helpful supervisor and co-supervisor, Dr. Nurudai and Dr. Azim, for keep guiding and supporting us throughout this whole journey in making this research. And last one is the reference, and this is some of the reference that we use in our research. I think that's all for our presentation. Thank you for your attention.